This is going back old school.
This is going old school.
Hello and welcome to a film autopsy, an on-the-spot film autopsy of Hunger Games: Catching Fire, the second film in the trilogy of Katniss Everdeen and the fictional world of Pan Am. We just walked out of the theater here at the Cinemark in Hadley. It's a long film. And but I felt really engaged the whole time. I actually felt it was a pretty good follow-up to the first one. I haven't read the book, so I have really nothing else to compare it to. Like I said, when we originally reviewed Hunger Games, I think for a film whose source material is a young adult novel, it's actually pretty engaging and fairly good social commentary in it. The romance, a little too much of that for me, but I know they got to appeal to the teenagers. So what were your thoughts?
Well, first of all, we can see the line behind us. It was completely packed.
Yeah.
And we also got a seat like about, we watched it in XD.
I need a neck massage now.
We were like second row, right? So we've been looking up and down. Okay, so movie-wise, I have not read any of those novels either.
No.
This is the second film, and it clearly, I mean, it places itself as a cliffhanger,
Yes.
and I think it's a fantastic cliffhanger. I mean, I would say sort of like,
Yeah.
I hope that the third and fourth films, as far as I know, that the last book is going to be divided up into two. But
I think they have to do that now. It's like they do it with everything. Harry Potter, The Hobbit.
Why do they?
Yeah.
But anyway, but from that perspective, I hope it's good, because I think this movie, if you think about the classic trilogies, I mean, if you think about Star Wars,
This
for
has
example,
a total Empire Strikes Back
exactly, and I
feel
think
to it.
I wasn't too crazy about the first Hunger Games, but this one I absolutely love.
Yeah.
I agree with romance is kind of like blah. And the social messaging, I mean, if you want to call it sort of like, oh, the poor people and the rich people and all of that stuff, it's a little bit sort of like, hitting you over the head.
Yeah.
Okay, scrap all of that.
But at least the social commentary is in there.
Right, yeah, but it's like, looking at it from sort of like, pretty black and white pictures and things like that. There is no nuance to it. That all said, as a story, I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was actually unexpected.
Yeah.
There were twists and turns, and I was totally absorbed into the film. And in fact, and it's a long film, but I actually didn't feel the time go by.
That's true.
I cannot say that about the first Hunger film, but this one, I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised by that. In fact, I'm shocked by that. But I loved it. I have to say, young adult film.
Okay, so it's something critical about the film. I think it's interesting. They introduced some new characters in this, and it got to a point in the film during the actual Hunger Games. That was another thing I like. The actual Hunger Games, the competition, doesn't start until way after halfway into the film. So as an audience member, that okay, it's not going to be just about that competition. There's more at stake here, and of course there is. And by the end of the film, they're ready to go raid the new Death Star. They're ready to take on the Empire.
But that is something that I almost, since I had no idea where the movie is going, I almost thought that actually it might have been better. I was more interested when the Hunger Games were not taking place. Because that was far more fascinating. And I actually thought that it might be the case that in this film there are no Hunger Games.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of what I was hoping.
Good.
But they
still,
are different in this one.
Right, and we don't want to give anything.
They can't repeat what they did in the first one.
We don't want to give anything away, but all of that stuff worked well. And I think had they not made some of the choices within games, I think it would have been kind of like a letdown.
Yes.
But the way they played, and again, we are trying hard not to say many more things, but I think it was well done. Except for one specific thing, like the original Hunger Games, the parade and the introductions of the people who are participating in that game. I thought that was a little unnecessary.
Well,
predictable.
They really play up the ritual and the public spectacle of this, and that didn't bother me so much because I think it is so important to the capital's means of maintaining control and giving this kind of bread and circus to the masses. So I didn't think it was too much. And wow, that dress.
This dress was amazing.
That was fantastic.
Stanley Tucci was very good.
He was great.
I'm not so sure about Elizabeth Banks' character.
Not as strong in this one.
Yeah, and
I liked her in the first one, and then the second Philip Seymour Hoffman walked onto the set. I was like, okay, that guy does not sign on to corny films.
Right.
And I was like, okay, this is good, and I knew his role would be good, and I'm not going to say any more.
Although I have to say that wasn't he in one of the Mission Impossible films too? As a villain.
Well, he no longer signs on to corny films. Okay, so they're going to kick us out of the mall any second now. This is very clandestine.
Mall security officials have been looking at us very suspiciously.
Film reviewing, but we are willing to put our reputations on the line to film on the spot for our
Take
for our
a chance
fans.
on it. It's a good film.
Yeah, Hunger Games catching fire, and it is definitely there's gonna be a huge buzz about this film.